I wasn't supposed to open that door. Why did it have to be me? Out of all the basements I'd entered as a property inspector, only this one held a terrifying secret. In my mid-20s, I worked for a property inspection company in a small coastal town. My job was simple: visiting rental properties, ensure they were up to code, and report any issues. It sounded straightforward, until one house made me question everything. The property was an aging townhouse on the outskirts of town, just a few streets from the cliffs. From the outside, it looked ordinary: peeling paint, an overgrown yard, but nothing unusual. Inside, though, it was different. The air felt damp and stale, like the house was holding its breath. Every creak of the floorboards sounded too loud, too deliberate. On my first visit, I noticed a door at the end of the hallway. It led to a cellar. My checklist required me to inspect every part of the property, so I descended into the dark, narrow staircase. At the bottom, the cellar split into two small rooms, separated by a warped wooden door. I focused on the right room first. The walls were lined with rusted pipes, and the floor was damp with water that seeped in from somewhere. As I noticed the damage, I heard something, a faint tapping sound from the left room. Curiosity got the better of me. I approached the left door, pressing my ear against it. The tapping stopped. Then came the faintest sound, a whisper, barely audible. My blood ran cold. I stepped back and called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No response, just silence. I reported the incident, but nothing came of it. A month later, I had to return for a follow-up. This time, I couldn't shake the memory of the whispers. As I worked in the right room, the noises began again: faint scratching, the creak of wood bending under weight. I froze. Then I made a mistake. I opened the left door. Behind it, the room was pitch black. The air was thick, and the faint smell of rot lingered. I took one step inside, and that's when I heard it: a low, guttural moan that rose into a horrifying wail. The sound was inhuman, a twisted symphony of pain and anger. I stumbled backward, slamming the door shut. I fled the cellar, my heart pounding. I told my supervisor, but they dismissed it as a squatter or a wild animal. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was down there wasn't normal. Months passed without incident. Then, one night, I was driving a coworker, Mia, home from a late shift. As we pulled up to her house, my stomach dropped. It was the same townhouse. "You live here?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She nodded, shifting uncomfortably. "Yeah, the rent's cheap," she said, almost apologetically. "But I hate that place." I looked at her, confused. "Why?" Her eyes flicked toward the house before she replied, "The cellar." She went on to tell me about the sounds: scratching, whispers, even laughter. But what really unsettled her was the night she saw someone. One evening she had gone down to grab a box of old books. As she turned toward the left door, she saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was tall and gaunt, its eyes reflecting the dim light like an animal's. She didn't stay to find out what it was. She bolted up the stairs and hadn't gone down since. Her story confirmed my worst fears. I should have left it at that, but curiosity consumed me. A week later, I found myself back at the house. This time, I brought a flashlight. I told Mia I needed to check something for work and headed straight for the cellar. At the bottom of the stairs, the scratching started again, louder this time. I shone my light at the left door. Slowly, it creaked open on its own. Inside, the room was empty, at first. Then I saw it, a shadow, darker than the rest of the room, shifting against the far wall. Until it moved toward me. I don't remember how I got out. I just remember running, my flashlight bouncing wildly as I scrambled up the stairs. When I burst into the daylight, I swore I heard faint laughter behind me. Mia moved out a month later. The townhouse has sat vacant ever since, its windows dark and unwelcoming. I'll never forget the sound of that laughter. Whatever was in that cellar wasn't human. and I'll never go back to find out what it was. Have you ever encountered something that defied explanation? Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more chilling tales.